countdown starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Bass in your face. Bass in your face.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negro. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues and we try to seek logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Okay. And of course, being that this is Easter, truly blessed Easter to all of you. Okay. And I trust that you had a wonderful day. Either you attend the Easter Day parade, or maybe you spend time with family, or maybe some of you actually attended church services. I really appreciate your attention and your support. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined, I really appreciate all the love and all the support all of you give me. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, particularly when it comes to TikTok and Instagram. You really touch my heart with your support. I really appreciate it. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into your devices and all those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on playback. Now, usually I don't do a Sunday stream, but this week it's going to be a little bit crazy due to my schedule. The times I'm going to be doing streams will be tonight, which is Sunday night. Then the next time I won't be doing a stream until Wednesday night. And then I'll do a stream either Thursday or Friday. I still haven't made a decision regarding those 2 days. I will let you know when I do my stream on Wednesday night. Okay. So we do have an interesting topic. Before we get into the topic, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. So what I'm going to start with is doing my critique regarding the intro Boricua's last video regarding his so-called contradictions with the Genesis story. Okay. First of all, I understand not everyone believes the biblical account in the book of Genesis, how the world was created and how humanity was created, and I understand that. And I also understand that, there are people who do not believe the Bible is the Word of God. Okay. Good evening, Georgia. Thank you very much for stopping stopping by. Um, and I stated, he did bring in some interesting points. However, he indicated there were contradictions in the Bible regarding the Genesis story. Um, One thing that we do have to bear in mind that when it comes to the Bible itself, uh, we have to bear in mind that Christians believe that the Bible is the infallible word of God, and that we believe everything that's okay. No, okay. First of all, um, I'm just gonna give him my critique. And first of all, I'm not taking anything personal. Okay. All I'm gonna say is the following: that when it comes to topics like the Bible, okay, um, people are going to interpret it as they see fit. Okay. I just happen not okay. I just share a different point of view. Okay. And of course, we have some discussion back and forth. Um, all I'm going to say is when you discuss the Bible, try to bear it in mind that there's some parts of the Bible that take it they use a great deal of imagery, and for Christians, sometimes there's certain parts of the Bible where we have difficulty understanding. Okay, for example, when it comes to the Book of Revelation, it can be very confusing based on the imagery. Also, regarding the Book of Daniel. Okay, so all I'm going to say on the subject is we're just going to disagree, and that's perfectly fine. Everyone's entitled to their point of view. I'm not going to attack anyone, if they don't hold a belief regarding the Genesis story. I'm just going to simply state that the Bible is not the easiest book to critique. Christians have had problems with certain. And also there's certain verses in the Bible where it could lead to multiple interpretations. Okay, and I see here we have a guest. So just before, let me just state that the views of those who appear on the panel are necessarily those of the host of the channel. Any attempt to copy the material when of the consent of the host is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your right to your image. Some of the views that people hold might be considered offensive to some views. If you do not like the channel, you can block the channel. And we're going to bring in my guest. Good evening, Georgia.
Good evening, Jose. So I'll try not to stay for too long, but carry on.
Okay. No, I'm just saying that when it comes to the Bible, it can be very difficult to articulate, not just for non-believers, but also for believers like ourselves, because there's certain books in the Bible which does go into a lot of imagery, and sometimes we can have problems, properly discerning what is the imagery.
Yeah, because even like my auntie said that there are times in which she doesn't really quite get what she just read, and that she needs to go back. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of believers can also relate to that as well. And then you just have those who are just not so firm believers who say it doesn't make any sense to them at all, because they just feel that just stuff that's just being talked about in it, though, is just too contradictory to the human condition.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also that issue too, though. But yeah, I guess when it comes to, like, as I mentioned, either Denise or Ramon, they already know us, because even like if it does come to like our friends who just aren't those firm believers still, then it's still our duty to be like the fig tree, because you do know that the parable of the fig tree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to very much be like the fig tree that produces fresh fruits, and not the fig tree that's just barren.
I agree. Well, actually, and this is something that I alluded to briefly in one of my streams last week. Um, there was a stream which I was a co-host with Denise aired a title "Religion and the Commercialization of Christ," of which she gave her understanding, her interpretation when it comes to Christianity. And I just simply state, well, this is what it means to me. Okay. Understanding that not everyone is going to look at it the same way.
Yeah, like everybody is not either, though. But I would just say people need to read the whole word themselves, so, and draw their own conclusions based on like what they have read carefully. And I think that that's just when people are going to get like the overall underlying meaning of what it is that they were reading. Because like a lot of people, including even believers, what they'll do though is that they'll just take this one particular biblical expert and just go from there without reading the verses from before and after. You can't really do that, because there's actually like a deeper context to what's also like being talked about too. So
Mhm.
obviously, I mean, it's pretty obvious why like I believe it though, but I also would say that I believe it is because a lot of the stuff that I see happening right now, especially what was happening during Elijah's days, are very much happening like right now. Because you know that like even in the past like few years, you know how churches got shut down, right? Well, you know, churches got shut down even in Elijah's days too.
Yeah.
Persecution was going on. That was also what was going on during Elijah's time. Even you have like really crooked leaders rising up to power. Though, well, during that time, you had those like King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. Hell, you have so many of those types even in the church. So
Yes.
a lot of the stuff that we see unfolding today is very reflective of what was going on today. I mean, going on back then. So
Mhm.
that's why I believe.
Yeah. And one thing that we have to bear in mind is, of course, we have a different understanding when it comes to the Bible. Is it has to do with our relationship with God. Okay. So this is the analogy that I use, and I think it's appropriate. It's like a person speaking Spanish to a person that understands Japanese.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm not trying to belittle people who don't believe the Bible, or who have not embraced Christianity. I am not trying to belittle them in any shape or way. What I'm just simply stating that to the person that does not have a relationship with God, there is a lot of contradictions, and a lot of stuff doesn't make sense.
Yeah, like the one biggest thing that I guess just what doesn't really make sense to like a friend of mine in California is that she just feels that um, if God says that okay, we should not sin at all though because of how he hates sin, which he does, and how okay then why are we inherently sinful? Why is the flesh sinful? I mean, yeah, very good question.
Mhm.
what what I would explain to her is that look, yes, it's a fair question, and yes, we are unfortunately, creatures who have a strong propensity for sin. But where God's perspective is coming from is that you crucify yourself, you die to yourself, and you deny yourself for for the goodness of yourself.
Mhm.
Because let's look at it like this, man. Like as we already know, lying, cheating, taking from one another, that's still their sins. Look at it like this. Liars don't like other liars, right?
No.
Narcissists don't like other narcissists too, right?
Correct.
Cheaters don't like other cheaters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And cocky people, right? Do they like other cocky people?
No.
Do people like other people sinning against them, even if it's the same sin that they're committing, right?
No, they don't.
They don't. So the purpose is of that though is deny yourself, crucify yourself, and just really demonstrate that your heart and your spirit is in the right place, despite the fact that you have that propensity to sin. And then people will be able to see that although you are this flawed creature created in the image of God, people can still see you being that fruitful fig tree. So yes, we have all these problems going on though, but there's a purpose over why we're here. There's that purpose for why we are in this fleshly body of ours. And there's a reason why you do have to just deny yourself. You have to, work on whatever your problems are, and then people start to see that. So that's what I would explain to her, is that, like, I get where you're coming from. Very fair question. But you don't like other cheaters, right? And first and foremost, though, you definitely would not really like a man who happens to have a lust problem. Because then you start to think about whether he has STDs, right? Well, you can see why they call it the deadly sin, right? So there's a reason why all this stuff is happening. So that's where I come from. I could talk all day about it, but I understand where somebody like her is coming from.
Yeah. Also, I think we have to bear in mind, like, for example, when in the gospel Jesus talks about, if your hand causes you to sin, chop it off. If your foot causes you to sin, chop it off. If your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. Jesus is not talking about self-mutilation. What he's talking about is that eliminate those influences, those situations that will cause us to sin.
Exactly. It was a metaphor. Ooh, lost my voice.
A metaphor.
So a metaphorical expression. Yeah.
So, and I think whenever you talk about, you talk about the Bible, whether as a point of a Christian or as a non-Christian, bear in mind that the Bible uses a great deal of metaphoric images.
It does. So like the fig tree, it's a parable, or the parable of the talent. That's another one, or the parable of the Good Samaritan. These are all metaphors that are actually, relatively easy to interpret.
Yeah. And generally, when I speak to people about the Bible, the first thing I would tell them, don't take my word for it. You read it for yourself, and you ask God to help you properly interpret it. Because I could be giving an incorrect interpretation, either, not knowing or even knowing. So that's why I say when I share the scripture, the first thing I'll tell people, do not take my word for it.
Exactly. Like same here. And then plus, I'm not even trying to tell people how to live their life and everything, because you were blessed with an amazing, beautiful gift known as free will. But, like the other question that I hear is, so like, okay, like, look at what's going on with the whole conflict between like Israel, Palestine, though. Why isn't God just coming down here and stopping this? Let's stop this. I'm like, well, have you ever thought to think about whether it's the fault of human beings? So
interesting point.
Because
actually, the topic for tonight is regarding accountability. Hence, the title is called "Accountability on Holiday."
I notice.
Mhm. And one thing we have to bear in mind that it's very easy to shift the responsibility on others. It's another thing when you own up and you take accountability for whatever actions that you're taking.
I agree.
Okay.
Because I know you always stress the importance of personal accountability, though, and that's something that I do believe in. I'm glad that I've taken a lot of accountability for a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's well, it's just because you put aside the ego and the pride, and you try to see what it is that you did wrong, and then you move on.
Exactly.
That's it. It's just, yeah, I get though that it's a hard thing though, but no, it's pretty easy for me though, because for one, I'm not better, nor am I worse than anybody else. That's just actually the
Mm-hmm.
first thing that you got to recognize actually about yourself though. You have
Yeah.
to come with a humble heart though, because even James, Jesus's brother, even says that like the humble are going to be like one of the first ones who are going to be like exalted by God. So like,
Mm-hmm.
who wouldn't want to be exalted by God though? So it's just something to think about.
Yeah. And one thing that we're seeing today is that we have many people, both male and female. They're not taking individual accountability for their actions. I mean, you have the situation where people will blame others, or they'll blame society, or they'll blame their circumstances. Okay. The thing is, it requires a certain amount of individual maturity to take accountability for one's actions.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I know that, and I'm just going to speak on myself. There have been many times I have to take accountability regarding some of the choices I made, and I have made some poor choices in my life, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. There have been times where I did not think things properly. I did not vet people properly. I did not make the best choices possible, and as a result, I received the consequences of those choices.
Same here, man. I mean, like, I'll be open about this though, but even when it came to like the matters of me and my ex fiance from the time, let me tell you this, since you already know the story though, but we had many of the traits of Jezebel and Ahab, by the way. And you already know what was going down between Jezebel and Ahab, right?
Yes.
That was a pretty serious thing going on at the time, though. And even for people who are either Ahab spirited or just happen to possess many of those traits of the Ahab spirit, you do have to take a great deal of accountability. And I am very repentant over that relationship too,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're kind of an Ahab spirited type, or you had those traits of it, you have some serious self-reflecting to do,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a lot of explaining to do, and a lot of cleaning up to do.
Yes.
And I did. So people who think that I don't take accountability, on the contrary, I do, and it feels absolutely good to take accountability. And just the whole relationship at the time is an example, along with plenty of other examples.
Okay. Well, I'm
But
going to
yeah,
give you. I'm going to give you an example. And sometimes, in taking accountability, it means to separate yourself from certain individuals that is going to bring chaos into your individual lives. Uh, Now, late last year, I met uh, a lady dining at a restaurant, And then like I gave her my number. I didn't think anything of it. Um, Later, I discovered that was not the best choice because um, there's certain things about um, her life which did not align with what I believe, and I just simply like what, everyone's entitled to live their life as they see fit, as long as people, things of that nature. But then she started talking about some strange stuff, like about engaging in intercourse and things of that nature. It's like, no, that's not possible. First of all, um, as believers, we don't accept intercourse, premarital intercourse or extramarital intercourse. And then
Yeah. You see why I preach a lot on here about marriage too.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then yeah, yeah,
Go on.
and then there was an issue about her not respecting my boundaries. Okay, and I have after several times requesting that she respected my boundary, I had to like basically block her completely.
Well, yeah, though, because if there's just that potential for it to be like an unequally yoked relationship, then you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah. Okay.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
I mean,
yeah.
go on.
I don't harbor any ill will towards this individual, but it's just that I'm sorry. Um, I cannot have fellowship or any type of friendship with anyone that is going to bring toxicity to my life and who's not going to respect my boundaries.
Same here. Like after like some time though, I mean, like I'm very patient with people. Dude, you'd be surprised actually at how very, very patient I am. But it's just over time, my spirit is going to say that, okay, look, this person is just not going to bulge anytime soon. They need some time to stay away from me or others so that they can heal on their own, reflect on their own without me or others in the picture. Even
Mm-hmm.
though they would like for me to be in their presence, I'm like, this is not working out at all.
Mm-hmm.
All it's just doing though is just feeling some kind of rage within you. So it's best that I step aside. But I've been very patient with you. I've been waiting, but now my patience is getting tested. So it's time to go.
Yeah.
You have to let it go too. I'm pretty sure you were patient with the woman that you met during the holidays, but you had to go.
Yeah. Because look, particularly when asking questions about my nephew's passing, and then talking about what I'm expecting to get from my nephew's passing. Like, first of all, I just had a death in the family, so that's definitely way out of bounds, and I had to like end the telephone calls because for me to continue in that line of thought, it would have just made me more upset. I mean, I'm already dealing with the loss of my nephew, who was only 48 years old when he passed away. The last thing I need is someone to bring in toxicity into that type of environment.
Well, yeah, I mean, like it's also called being very insensitive too when they barely know you.
Yeah.
Like you
But
guys are
one
just
thing,
now meeting and now she's behaving insensitively. Like get
yeah,
out of here.
exactly. Okay. And, and then try to leave these messages. It's like you would think If I don't pick up the phone, if I don't respond, that should be a cue to say, please leave me alone.
Well, there's the B word, if you know what that is. And no, I'm
Yes.
not talking about the expletive.
Neither am I. Believe me, I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're talking about, and we're going to try to keep this a relatively, at least G-rated, if not PG-rated.
Exactly. But there's
But
always the B
one
word
thing,
to use
yeah,
in that
yeah,
case. But yeah.
but there's certain things that people who cannot take accountability, they have certain traits. Like one of them is that they are victims who are always at the mercy of others.
True.
Okay. So, and these are people who, for whatever reason, good evening, Irby, happy Easter, or as I like to call it,
Hey,
happy
Herbie.
Resurrection Day. These are individuals that, for whatever reason, they don't, they are unable to see, or whether by choice or by whatever set of circumstances, not able to see that their actions have consequences. Irby, the topic for tonight is accountability on holiday. Basically, we're dealing with individuals who are not able to take accountability for their actions, and that could be both male and female.
And we were also bringing up real life scenarios, though, in which we had to take a great deal of accountability.
Yep, that is true. That is true. Okay. Now, another trait regarding people who are unable to take accountability is that they are delusional and they tell stories in the hope of absorbing themselves.
Carry on, I'm listening.
So basically, these are people who are prone to look for information that support our existing beliefs. But what you do is those existing beliefs are pretty delusional. Okay? Your thoughts?
So wait, what again? What about our existence?
They are delusional and tell stories in the hope of absorbing themselves.
Oh, okay. I just think that it's just a way to deflect from the issue so that it doesn't cause them to really reflect within about everything that they did was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've dealt with that even with folks in the real world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's where you have to kick the dust off of your feet and keep it going.
Yes. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples of that. You think that you can do no wrong. You think that other people have it in for you and you're out to get you. Or you think that people need to get off your back and cut you some slack.
That's true.
Yeah.
But when there is like accountability that needs to be taken, there's nobody pursuing you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yep. Another trait regarding people who are unable to accept accountability is that they're cowardly and afraid to admit that the buck stops with them.
The delusion is real with some people. Yeah, I agree, Irby.
Yeah. And look, let me tell you. Let me put it in this concept. I cannot control what you say or do, but I can control my reaction to your words or actions.
That's true, though. I mean, like, there is a such thing as freedom of speech and freedom of expression, But it's up to me over how I want to react to it. And I've been guilty of not reacting properly to somebody else's behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a good example is that they fear facing up to who they are or how they have behaved. They are too scared to show the full responsibility for their own life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too much narcissism out there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Believe me. Yes, they are. Yes, it is. Now, another trait regarding the lack of accountability, they are insecure and can't handle being wrong.
Can't handle being wanted, you said?
Wrong.
Oh, wrong. Okay. Okay.
In fact, we have a saying in Spanish when we say que él siempre tiene la razón, which literally translated to me is they always have the reason or they're always
Yep.
correct.
Yeah, because I recognize the tienes razón, which I know that means you're right. I understood you.
And
But yeah.
I know one family member, bless his heart. Even when he's wrong, he's right when he's wrong. If you understand what I mean.
Yeah. I I do. But thankfully I do stand to be corrected, and I think that everybody else would become happier if they were able to stand to be corrected. But no, I stand to be corrected to the fullest. Because I've gotten a number of things wrong. And I'm fine with that. Because what you don't want to do is go out there and mislead a bunch of people because you were spreading stuff that was actually wrong. That you were actually wrong about. But I will say this, that's just the ego talking big time. Like where
Yes.
you want to say something was 100% somebody else's fault, or you don't really want to say that you were actually a bit wrong about something. That's just the ego talking. The ego is flaring up though, and the ego is making your decisions here.
Yeah. And one big issue is that whenever that they cannot admit when they're wrong, is there's a great deal of individual insecurity.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't really know everybody like that though, but if they feel a need to kind of like say a bunch of stuff or exaggerate a bunch of stuff about you that's actually not really that accurate, then it's telling me that something is really going on within.
Yeah.
Because like whatever you have going on within you, or what happens or what's going on with you inwardly is always going to reflect itself outwardly. So the only thing that I can say is that if you don't really like to be wrong at all and you don't really stand to be corrected, then you have a huge ego problem. You're dealing with some demons or some insecurities, or stuff happened to you in your childhood to where it's now reflecting itself into your adulthood.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know everybody like that well though, but that's what I can conclude.
Yeah. And I think we know our fair share of people that are very insecure about taking individual accountability.
Well, yeah. Like I said though, it's it feels actually good to, like stand to be corrected though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like, I even shared with a couple people though about an old tweet of mine from Twitter though, and I actually ended up making amends with that guy though, because what I said to him at the time was wrong. It was wrong though, but neither one of us are sweating it anymore though, because it was a while ago. It's already said and done. I have not done that, and that's it. Ch- uh, Taking accountability means changed behavior too.
Hmm. Well, actually, we have the first example of that in the book of Genesis, in the Garden of Eden, when God was seeking Adam and Eve, and then they hid themselves, and then they responded, "Well, the reason why they hid themselves that they were naked." So then God asked them, "Who told them they were naked?" And then God asked him, knowing what they did you eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil that you was prohibited to eat? Well, in each case, both with Adam and Eve, they basically passed the buck to somebody else.
Yeah,
With Adam, it was the case passing the buck to Eve. And when it comes to Eve, talking about that she was being beguiled by the serpent.
that too. Hmm.
Okay. So, and there is a temptation to pass the buck on someone else. It's a temptation whenever you make poor choices, you blame it on society. You blame it on your upbringing. You blame it on your friends. You blame it on social media. You blame it on everybody but your individual
It's
self.
it's easier to point the finger and scapegoat, but it's not easy to point the finger at finish the statement for me.
Okay. Well, I mean, look. I mean,
Yourself.
exactly. Look, and
Yes.
we see this constantly in social media, where you have individuals that talk nonstop. The reason why they're in the situation they're in because of circumstances supposedly beyond our control. Again, uh, I cannot control what you say or do. I can't control how I'm going to react.
But yeah, you can only just control how you react to that scenario.
Okay, that's true.
Hmm.
Now, another trait is that they are selfish and only think about their own best interests. Um, you know, um, it can be easy to not accept accountability when you know by accepting accountability that means you might lose something or you might have something that you want taken away.
And you want to know what that is? The mask that the person wears. Like, you're wearing, like, people wear a mask all the time though, but taking accountability means that that cool mask that you're wearing is going to fall off.
Yeah.
And who
Mm,
wants their cool mask to fall off? Nobody.
yeah. And part of it is that people feel entitled.
Yeah, well, that's also tied into ego.
Yeah.
The Mo show says happy holiday. Yeah, happy holidays to you too.
Good evening, the Mo Show. Thank you very much for stopping by. Um, Actually, the topic for tonight is people who are not capable of taking individual accountability for their actions. So that's why you have the title "Accountability on Holiday." Okay. And, you know, she does have a lot of interesting topics. Some of them, well, that's just, I'm just going to say, check out for yourself. But now another trait that people have that have that being inability, unable to accept individual
The
accountability is
inability.
that they're lacking the empathy and struggle to see the other people's side.
Well, thank God that I actually am a compassionate and empathetic person. So I always am going to listen to somebody else's perspective about like a particular thing or whatever it is that's going on, even if I may disagree with it. Because
Yeah.
I mean, as I mentioned, even on my first live stream, like a couple of days ago, I did say that, my mom was growing up in Mississippi back in the 60s. So that's going to come with a completely different ball game and everything. So do you have the maturity to be able to handle a different perspective and not get uppity because it doesn't match up with yours?
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
one thing that's characteristic is when people who cannot put themselves in the shoes of others are less likely to take responsibility for their actions.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And and it does require a level of maturity to be able to take individual accountability for your actions.
Yeah. You want to know what also comes to my mind is like the very woke people, those who are very woke and they really want to try to get a lot of people to like accept stuff that they don't really want to like accept though, but then they will come back to us and say how we are pushing religion, we're trying to indoctrinate um kids and everything with religion and all this that and the third. Well, don't you think that you're trying to indoctrinate and force your ideals onto other people too? You're doing the same thing too, so where's the accountability?
Yeah. Actually, believe it or not, that's going to be the topic for my next stream Wednesday night.
The woke mob and lack of accountability.
You know what? I have a feeling that some people are going to be mad at me. I mean, first of all, we dealt with the fat five people hating me because I'm actually, saying that being morbidly obese is not a flex. Now I'm going to be talking about how people are too woke. So people are going to get pissed off at me.
Yeah, I mean, like it's all about having. Okay, well, I need to be a little bit careful now when it says what I'm about to say is balanced, though, because first and foremost, though, is me and you being believers, though, saying stuff like everything in moderation. That's actually a risky thing to say.
Yeah. Because the problem is we do not interpret things the same way. Okay. Like, for example, consuming alcohol in moderation. Okay. My concept of moderation could be different from your concept. I mean, your concept, one person's concept of moderation might be taking like 8, 9 shots of tequila.
Exactly. Or the question I would ask is, should I watch porn in moderation or should I not watch it at all?
Okay.
There you go. That's why I'm
Yeah.
really careful about saying stuff like moderation because, okay, it can sometimes be a vague expression, and I'm not going to watch something like that ever.
Yeah. Before I forget, I just want to remind everyone that the link to join the panel has been pinned. If at any time that you feel like you want to opine and express your point of view, or maybe you might think what we're talking about makes no sense, you have an opportunity to give your rebuttal. Please bear in mind that if I have never seen you before anywhere, okay, I will insist that you come up in the backstage and make sure that you do not flush anything inappropriate, which would cause the good people of YouTube to take down the stream. So
And yeah, that Mo says, yeah, that depends on where your moral boundaries are. Yes, indeed.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Now the next thing, and the next trait that people have when they have an inability to take accountability is they're stubborn and set in their ways. And again, it goes back to the saying in Spanish, que es tiene la razón. They are always right. Even when they're wrong, they're right.
Yeah. Some folks would tolerate someone seeing porn every now and then versus 24/7 and overboard. All boils down to moral lines, in my humble opinion. Yep,
Okay.
I agree, Mo.
Yeah. Now, here's something to consider. If you have a fixed rather than a growth mindset, you're far more likely to dodge responsibility. And here's why. People with a fixed outlook on life believe that they are who they are, and that's just the way it is. In contrast, those with a growth mindset believe that they are flexible and capable of changing. Your thoughts?
I totally see your point, though, 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, if you were really that much of a stubborn person who just stubbornly refuses to do what's going to be in your best interest, and you see that, like, not a lot of progress has really been made, but yet you still choose to blame, like, the economy or the government, well, then aren't you going to give it some thoughts about whether your stubbornness may have slowed you down from reaching? So, yeah.
Yeah. hmm I mean, look, and we're not trying to pose ourselves as
Like,
the
kind of like, for example, if you don't remind me, you want to know because you're obviously have fat shamed people. You're saying obesity isn't great. So when are you going to get accountability for your your bigotry? I'm messing with you, man. Sorry.
well. Look,
I was messing with you, man.
yes.
I'm messing with you. I'm just joking with you, man, because of how you're going to get hate from around the corner, though, for calling out the fat acceptance movement, who are going to tell you that you have to take accountability for being a bigot.
Yeah, a caloric bigot.
I was just kidding with you, man. You know that, right? Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
and most.
Yeah.
I was messing with you, man.
But but you know something. When Asia gave those videos um, regarding the fat pie people, I had to give an appropriate response. Good evening, Don Amando.
Hey, how you doing?
So how you
I'm
doing
doing
tonight?
very well. Hey.
Yeah, I just had to go and change it up and everything like that.
So the topic for tonight is accountability on holiday. So we're talking about people who have issues with individual accountability for their actions.
Right. I mean, even though it's funny because I I get, hey, happy holiday to Mo show. I mean,
Yes.
if you actually look at it, right, I would say that the family is you're supposed to enjoy yourselves and everything like that, and not have issues. But then, like in my case, since a lot of my family's been decimated and we're spread apart and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I just keep it where I'm at, where I'm in either Philadelphia, maybe the New York area, but I haven't been to like the New York area as far as the holidays since a year ago. No,
Mm-hmm.
actually, it's going on 2 years. So,
Yeah. Um, one stream that okay, I don't know if you saw it, but I did a stream of which Visions of Asia, uh, Asia was on the panel, and
oh, I don't know that content creator, so to say.
okay. Well, she did a couple of videos regarding these individuals who trying to make it a flex of being 400 and 500 pounds. So I decided to do a video to saying no, it's not a flex. That you're doing yourself a lot of harm by making your heart work all that hard and making your joints harder, trying to support all that weight.
Right.
So we're talking about people who take accountability because they rather be 500 pounds and think that we should look at them as being people who are sexy.
I mean, if you actually look at it, right, it's eye of the beholder in that case. But then it's like you have certain people who, that they're predisposition, meaning that they were born like that. And then you have certain people who they think like, oh yeah, that they're BBW and they're confident and everything like that. But then you have certain people like Lizzo that actually want way overconfident with it, meaning that okay, for example, you could be a confident woman and you have your size, but yeah, you working and everything like that to get that. But if you actually look at what Lizzo is doing and what other people are doing, like for example, you have like a whole bunch of BBW women that actually want to be vulgar and stuff. And I, for one, when I was single, I did indulge in and how should I say the pattern of dating BBWs and thick women. So
Mhm.
my thing is that certain people they want to try to push the healthy and everything like that, but then you have to really look at it. Did that person just go around and turn fat, or that person was fat all their lives and that they have family that are fat and everything like that? Sometimes it's a pattern. It's not even a person could even just stop what they're eating and stuff. But then if it's like there's a lot of contributing factors. So and it's
Yeah.
even so often that I was called fat by some warped individual.
Yeah. Well, in that stream, what I did was I actually showed the BMI calculator, and I input in my data, which is my height and my weight, and my BMI was 39.
Okay.
Okay, so the whole point is I'm trying to make was being obese, whether it be 250 pounds or 500 pounds or 600 pounds, it's not a flex by any stretch of the imagination. And all you're doing is you're cutting your life. Now, Georgia asks us an interesting question. I'm going to ask you and I'm going to ask you the question, Georgia. Georgia, how many of these fat pie people that you know are 61 and still alive?
None.
Need I say
None
more?
whatsoever, though. And I also
Need I
shared
say?
that one music video with Asia. I sent her the link though, and it's the music video is here on YouTube, but the song is called "quote unquote" "Fat Liberation" by the Angry Fat People, where they're basically where the girl in the video is hey dreadlock, So where the
They join up.
the girl
Hey,
where the
Trevor.
girl in the video, yeah, yeah, where the girl in the video is rapping about how fat people are experiencing things like intersectional oppression, and how everything that's going on with them is just as bad as the racism that was going on back then.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about that, right? Okay, my wife, she's on the thick side, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny that most of my haters, they always want to go and they want to go and fat shame and everything like that. Okay, so therefore, this is one thing I gotta say. Everybody got their preferences, right?
True.
So why is it that another man feels like that he's gonna go and put his preferences on you when he's going to go around and randomly insult and fat shame and everything like that? When the fact is, some of these people are not fit themselves, but yet they want like a reality. They want to try to impose their insecurities on another person and such.
Okay. First of all, Mo, I just made you a mod on my channel. So now you have the ability to weed out the trolls and the clown people who try to invade this sanctum. And it's good to see you, Keisha. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
And I just want to say to you, Miss Mo, a huge shout out to you for losing the weight.
Yeah.
So
All right.
yeah, so of course, you know what's going to happen. The fat pride people, oh, we just lost Georgia. So you know what's going to happen. The fat pride people, oh, okay. The fat pride people are going to hate me because I'm calling them accountable for their buffoonery.
Right.
And then Wednesday, when I deal with the woke crowd, more people are going to hate me. But you know what? I suffer from a terminal disease called I don't care itis.
Me too. It's like it's funny, right? When certain people they want to get at me just because I'm friends with somebody that they don't get along with or anything like that. And then they want to go and make my life hell whatsoever by doxing me, putting my name out there and everything. And 9 times out of 10, I'm not really caring because I'm still going to be friends on who I'm friends with. It's not going to go around and change. I don't care how many lies they're going to go around and make. They could use my name to perpetrate any lie and talk about how I live in the slums or whatever. And to me, it's comical because 9 times out of 10, I never knew that another man could go around and put so much energy on another man and still try to say, oh, that this person's better than me. If you're so much better and everything like that, why the heck you feel the need to go around and look at my channel just to see what the heck I'm saying? I'm like at the end of the day, people are just making me a celebrity, and I'm not getting paid for it. So you're doing all this for what? Nothing.
Yeah. Now, another trait that deals with these people who are unable to accept accountability is that they're irresponsible and they don't think things through. Okay, and I'm going to give you a perfect example of that. Okay, I know someone that's very dear to me. Okay, and unfortunately, this person made inappropriate choices regarding relationships, and as a result, it did not end well. Okay, and I tried my best to, share with this person like before you get involved into a relationship, make sure that you're properly healed from the scars. Because what happens is when you don't do that, what happens is you bring the baggage of past relationships to a new relationship. So what you're doing is basically, in a way, you're making that person pay for what other people did. and it's a vicious cycle. People continue, you keep making bad choices again and again and again, and it just it's sad, but unfortunately, all you can do is just give advice and just let them make their own choices and then struggle.
Right.
Okay. And first of all, a shout out to the 10 people that viewing this as we speak. Hopefully, you're all liking this stream because it's something that we need to discuss because we know a lot of people who, for whatever reason, do have an issue taking accountability for their actions.
Yeah, I mean, if you actually look at it, there's a lot of politicians who are actually they're not taking accountability for their actions also. And one thing I gotta say is like certain people they could have their beliefs or whatever the case may be, but
Yeah,
you know, but why y'all gonna go around and make a law on the 31st? For us Christians, is Resurrection Day,
yes.
and me sadly, it's the 5th anniversary of my father's passing.
I'm
So,
sorry.
so just to do certain stuff on that day, and I was just like, I didn't get it. I just went up and I ignored it. No offense to people who were of that community, but you know, there's certain stuff that I don't know what it is or whatever. But there's certain stuff that I'm just gonna actually ignore because I guess it's of the world, and you have to look past that. So
Yeah. I just want to highlight this message. I'm learning that, and it's their journey, their lessons. Who am I to step in to disturb that? That's why I have been working. Okay, look. Today. Okay, look. Today, I actually went to the cemetery. Um, so what I did was I paid my respects to my eldest brother, my grandmother, and my mother, all buried in the same cemetery. And of course, you know, um, again, my condolences to the loss of your father. Um,
thank you.
but I mean, my brother was only 37 years old when he died.
Sorry to
My
hear that.
Yeah, my grandmother was only like in her early 50s when she passed away, and this coming July will be 4 years that my mother passed away.
I
So
ask you a private question, Don Jose.
go ahead.
Is your father buried in the same cemetery as your mother?
No, he's not.
Oh, okay.
No, he's not. Otherwise, I would have. It just and actually, this was the first time I was able to go to the cemetery because the problem is there's a lot of walking that has to be done. So I had to use a walker.
All
So
right.
therefore, so I can at least have somewhere to sit down briefly, and then
Right.
just, I mean, because unfortunately, uh, those of you who know me know I've been dealing with issues with my left knee, for which I will require surgery. But that's another. It's just that it's not easy. Look, let me tell you something. It can be very hard certain holidays going through it without the loved ones, and what comforts me is that they are no longer suffering.
I agree to that.
Yeah. So, but when it comes to like they're being irresponsible and they don't think things through, no one likes to learn the hard way, but sometimes it can be very useful. Okay. I mean,
Yeah, it can.
when you see people who are making bad choices and that, no matter what they do, they're just going to continue. The best thing you can just do is just let them go and let them learn the hard way.
I agree. I mean, it's funny that certain people that actually go around promoting hate, they're actually learning the hard way when they're on platforms, but being taken down one by one. And now, by the threat of TikTok actually being shut down, they might not have another platform to have afterwards.
Well, look, we have seen YouTube creators, both big and small, that had their platforms taken down. And many of them do not take accountability for the fact that their platforms was taken down. I mean, they'll blame they'll blame society, they'll blame the white man, they'll blame the opposite gender, everyone but themselves. Okay? Because they chose the words or the actions or the imagery that led YouTube to take down their content.
Right.
Okay. And I know in my case, I've made some extremely poor decisions, both in my professional life, in my personal life. I made some poor decisions when it comes to this platform. The issue is I take accountability.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm not gonna go around because I haven't really been dedicating myself for it that much, but I'm actually gonna try to dedicate it more because there's been a lot of personal struggles that I've been going through. So
Yeah,
it's just that I'm trying to handle that before anything. But the goal is to actually try to get to 1K or subscribers and to try to establish some of the connections that I have in New York and elsewhere.
yeah. But another characteristic is they manipulate as they try to shift the blame of others. Um, Example, if you hadn't said X, Y, and Z, then never have they done those things. Okay, so in other words, again, they're blaming other people, anybody and everybody other than themselves.
Yep.
Okay. And we have, I mean, we personally know uh, creators that have their platforms taken down, but for whatever reason, they don't take accountability.
They really don't.
No, they don't. Because it's always, well, it's this person's fault or that person's fault. Okay. I mean, a perfect example of it is Cynthia Jane. She
Mhm.
had had, I think, 3 or 4 different platforms taken down. Okay. And instead of taking accountability for her actions, she's blaming black men. Okay. But
But
no
to
one,
me, but
yeah,
this is one thing that I don't understand about Cynthia G, right?
yeah,
I mean, she blames black men, right? And she tries to talk about female positivity or and that and that stuff. I'm just saying from the stuff that I have listened from her, right?
Okay.
But when it comes to black men that are actually doing, how should I say, what they're doing, meaning that they're actually raising their kids, or they're actually trying to better themselves and their society or whatever. It's
Yes.
not she would actually try to look at these men, or for a perfect example, a black man that has love in his heart and he doesn't see color or anything like that, and he decides to date oh date somebody outside the race, which he doesn't see color. Now they'll try to go and call that man a dusty and all this stuff just because this man doesn't want to date them, but yet they want to actually date somebody another race because they have love in their heart. So there's the dusties, all the insults and everything. But yet, if black man is so bad, right? Why did she have a baby with the black man? So therefore, that's where the hypocrisy comes in.
Hmm. Not only that, she's talking about the Pookies and the Ray Rays, but guess what? She gets pregnant by a Pookie or a Ray Ray.
I mean, the way that she describes the person is that the person's not a Pookie and a Ray Ray. But the thing is, though, she's a Laquanda or Shaquanda.
Hmm.
If you get what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
because everybody could talk about the Pookies and the Ray Rays, but there's certain Pookies and Ray Rays that do not stay Pookies and Ray Rays. They actually get elevated or educated, whatever the case may be, and they actually try to make a good case for themselves, and they see the error in their ways as such. But yet, to certain women who are scorned, or they have like a preconceived notion on what a man's supposed to be or want or anything like that, they'll actually go and call that man a Pookie or a Ray Ray because that man knows himself and he knows how he wants to be treated. And he will tell the female, not in a violent way, but in a way that is like to tell them, you're not going to treat me this way.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I just want to acknowledge that the introvert Boricua is in the chat. Good evening, Ramon.
Good evening, Ramon.
Yeah. We're talking about people who are not able to take accountability for their actions. Okay. Hence the title, Accountability on Holiday. Okay. And so what I did was I just gave some characteristics regarding people who have issue taking individual accountability.
Right.
And I did see your video regarding um, the creation story and your understanding. And you know what? We're just going to disagree. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing, and I mentioned this earlier, when it comes to talking about the Bible, and when it comes to talking about the Bible, Christians have a hard time certain parts of the Bible because there's a lot of imagery involved. Okay, and actually, um, there have been people who have taken scripture out of context. So if Christians have a hard time trying, to deal with some of the imagery, people who are not Christian, I can understand why, and why there will appear contradictions.
I mean, if you actually look at it, you have the way that I see it is that you have certain people who are actually attacking our faith, the Christian faith,
Mhm.
and I'm not gonna go around and try to say whatever or whatever the case may be, but as soon as we tell a person that we're Christian, the next thing you know, they'll try to say that, okay, you're a racist or you're anti LGBTQ and all this other stuff. But yet, when I see other people of other faiths, right, which to me it doesn't make sense, right? You see, like you have somebody who is for example, um, people who are protesting Palestine, right?
Mhm.
Now, you see people who are outraged because of the atrocities that are happening and whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
But yet you don't see the underlying line, meaning that everybody might take the help, but let's say if Palestine was to do whatever financially or anything like that, most of those people who are actually protesting within their culture or the Arabian culture, I might say, there'll be a certain sector of people that will actually be deleted just because of the way that they live their life. So when I
Hmm.
see um the rainbow flag and the Palestinian flag, for example, I don't know I don't even think that Palestine have any laws like that, but I just know that with certain people beliefs and such, they're not going to go down with the person with the rainbow flag. So
Yeah. Well,
that's what I find mind boggling.
yeah, but like I said, Ramon, I don't consider you a heathen. I just say, I'm just simply going to say we're going to respectfully disagree. That's all. That's all. That's the whole point. Um, Now, another trait regarding people who do not take up accountability, they're lonely and often alienate others.
Oh yeah, well I know the perfect example of that, but you know, it's
That's
been
not,
proven.
yeah, but that's not try to cite anyone in particular because
Right, but
we
I
know
know
that these
several
people.
individuals.
Yeah, so do I. So it's just that we're not gonna go there because first of all because we want to keep it upbeat. Second of all, it's Easter, or as I like to call it, Resurrection Day.
Resurrection
But
Day.
yeah, but the fact of the matter is this, and I can see why, because people don't want to deal with people who don't take accountability for their actions. I mean, it could be a huge turnoff for them.
Yeah. And it's like
So,
and it's I've seen like for me just being a content creator because I've had my own YouTube channel for a long time. But I just never really was into content creation until like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So
mhm,
with that said, there's a lot of people who are detractors or whatsoever the case may be. But
yeah,
then you have certain people who they will just follow a political or mindset that goes against all reasoning or whatsoever, just because they think that they're gonna do something. When 9 times out of 10, you have to look at the people who are actually who are actually leading this quote unquote movements. That 9 times out of 10, they're gonna throw you as fodder because they're not gonna go and actually get down and do the dirt themselves.
mhm, yeah,
And to me, it's like, okay, so if a person's supposed to be a leader, but yet you're not gonna go around and do the stuff themselves, how the heck you're gonna have certain people that are actually going to follow you when the fact when the fact is the person has a history of betraying and making fun of people that once followed them. So
yeah,
So in that case, when people want to call themselves talk leaders and whatsoever the case may be, I have to see right past the hypocrisy.
Hmm. Yeah. And here's an interesting point. People who perpetually refuse to take responsibility for their actions can be destined for a lonely existence. When we never hold our hands up, we'll only end up pushing others away. Your thoughts?
I mean, it it depends on the situation, I believe. But then if you really look at it, once you don't take accountability and for actions, whether it be bad or good, nine
Mhm.
times nine times out of ten, it's not going to end well.
True. Very true. Very true. Now, I just want to give some things to consider, um, to help us to take accountability. Is like if something goes wrong, ask yourself, what was my part in it? If you hurt
Exactly.
someone else, try to imagine how they are feeling. Never
Yep.
shift, never try to shift blame when you are in the wrong. Don't make excuses for bad behavior. Own it.
Yeah.
Apologize and try to make amends when you know you have behaved inappropriately, and cultivate greater self-awareness to better understand and manage your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Okay, I think what happened is that Don Armando has muted himself because there is some music in the background, and just want to make sure that I don't get hit with a copyright strike. But see, the whole point regarding this topic is that we do have to accept the fact. Okay, we do have to accept the fact that there are people, for reasons only known to them, have an issue about taking accountability. So, and let me make this, and again, let me make this perfectly clear. This doesn't apply to women, it also applies to men. The problem is that if you take a look in social media, one would come to the conclusion that women are more guilty than men not to take accountability, while in reality, both men and women are equally guilty. Okay? It's just that social media, particularly TikTok, will lead people to believe that more women are guilty of this when we know that both sexes are guilty. Okay. Ramon,
Yeah,
if
I
you want
agree.
to,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, Ramon, if you want to hit the panel and express your point of view regarding the topic, you're more than welcome to do so. So, but it's just that I've seen my share of people who, for whatever reason, who don't take individual accountability. Um, Now, can people change? Yes, but they have to have the desire to change. They have to be, they have to be mature enough to want to take accountability. Your thoughts, Don Armando?
I was to talk about accountability, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is another content creator by the name of Jeffrey Almonte, right?
Okay.
So there was a wild accusation. I was actually watching him on how he was brought up and how he was brought in the Catholic and Christian faith, but then he he went up and went off the beaten path or whatsoever. So he was actually talking about his journey and how somebody went and actually did threw hexes around his way and made false accusations or so forth about him. So, and it was to the point that he was saying that certain people were threatening just to delete him because they were actually game stalking him and such. So I was looking at that, and one thing that I've actually said that he actually took accountability for his actions as such while he was in that lost path.
Okay. Okay. Well, like I said before, um, it's easy to pass the buck. Okay. It's another thing to accept accountability. Okay. And we're both have seen and come across people, um, not just here on this platform, but yeah, we come across people who, for reasons that are only known to them, they don't take accountability. Okay, and again, it's easy to pass the buck. Okay, but it's a level of maturity when you are able to accept accountability and realize, okay, I said what I said, I did what I did, okay, and the fact of the matter is, I'm going to, if I hurt people, I'm going to make amends, okay. So some people, for whatever reason, go through their entire life without taking accountability. Okay. Unfortunately, what happens is they can lead very lonely lives because sooner or later, people don't want to deal with people who are unable to take accountability. And they have only themselves to blame.
Exactly.
Yeah. So so basically that's my little presentation. Like I said, I just wanted to uh, you know focus on individual accountability. Wednesday, I'm going to talk about the woke community.
All right, so I might attend that. So, what is it about the woke community that you're going to talk about? Because there's certain people that they call themselves woke, and then you have certain people that they'll say something that somebody's agree with, and then they have that title put on them.
I think what I'm going to do is make a distinction between those who like have like a legit disagreement and they're willing to articulate logically about that. And then you have those that they object, but yet it's out of emotion. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
going to be the kind of the direction that I'm going to be taking. Okay. Um, we have seen a lot of that lately, with different communities. I don't want okay. I don't want to state specific communities where woke behaviors exist, because we have to understand there's good and bad in every community. So I don't want to like paint a broad brush regarding any particular community. I'm just going to be talking about individuals in general.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, so I guess I would actually attend that stream.
Yeah, and and I will encourage anyone that attended. Okay, and and this is the thing. If you disagree with what I say or what the other people on the panel say, that's fine. Hit the link, share your point of view, and why you disagree. As long as you can articulate with a reasonable amount of intelligence, we can discuss it. But if you're going to get personal, if you're going to get emotional, there's no space for you on this platform. Now you can go on your platform and you can be as emotional and illogical there. But I do expect a certain amount of logic. And just as a point of information, if you're going to have conversations with me and restrict asking to have certain individuals not appear on my platform, please give your facts. Don't just talk in vagueness, but actually, give evidence. because
Yes.
because if
Yeah.
you cannot produce evidence, I am not going to listen.
I mean that's my thing too because I know that there's a situation right there. Is like okay, bet I have a person that told me to take off an interview. I'm like okay, cool, but then it'll be funny because the person the way that they'll actually talk to me about another person, but then when me and that person when we interact is something different. So my thing is that what is the issue? What is the underlying issue that you will have with this content creator or person when the fact is that all the time that this person actually reached out to me and such is always out of love and respect. And that's all I've seen from the individual. So why is it that a person is saying that oh that person's following me or whatsoever the case when the fact is how we're gonna how you're gonna go and follow a person when you don't even know what they look like?
Okay, well, you know what? We're not. Okay, you know what? I'm just speaking in
No,
general.
I'm just saying in general because you have certain people that will act. I've came across several individuals. They say, "Oh, this person's stalking me" or whatsoever. When the fact is, the person has a history of not showing, or persons have a history of not showing their real face. So, if a person doesn't really have a real face or anything like that, how would a person will be proceeding to stalk another person? That's beyond my comprehension.
There's certain things I do not try to understand because I don't have the time and the energy to do so. Okay, Now, how people govern their platforms, that's purely up to them. Okay. Good evening, Ramon.
Good evening, guys.
Buenas noches, Ramón. ¿Cómo está usted?
Buenas noches. Estamos aquí bien, bien. ¿Qué es la que
Ah,
hay?
bueno. Ah, tranquilo.
All right, all right. Oh, yeah, I almost didn't make it. I was in the middle of something, but I was listening. And yeah. I mean, like everybody, we are grown-ups, we're adults, and there are things that we are gonna be taking certain actions, certain positions. We are gonna have to learn to stand on it and admit to it. I mean, uh, the accountability starts with the self. If others can only hold you accountable if they have that power, or if you give them that power. If they want to hold you accountable over a disagreement, if that you know where you stand, then that shouldn't affect you. So there is also that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't know how much of it you caught, but I just giving certain characteristics about people who haven't, okay, who for whatever reason are not able to take individual accountability for their actions.
Oh yeah. We all have met them. We all have dealt with them. They do what they do. They stand what they stand. They say what they say, but they blame someone else. And then it's like you are committing a crime, or you are committing a hate crime if you just kind of like remind them of what they said or what they did. I mean, it's just the personal when it comes to personal accountability, or starts with the self. And for some people, for certain types, they're not very good at doing that. So
Yeah.
that is that.
That's true. That's true. And
Hmm.
one thing that I'm a firm believer that I have a saying. It's not good English, but it's factual.
Yeah.
Whenever you mess up, fess up.
Oh yeah. I hear you.
Okay. Meaning, when you make a mistake, you admit you make a mistake. You try to learn from the mistake, and then you make sure you do your best not to repeat it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking about individuals that that have an issue with taking accountability, Wednesday I'm going to about talking about people who are woke.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about. Well, you know that the wokes don't take criticism but well.
Well,
As soft and constructive as you want to take it, as you want to make it for them, they can't take it. They can't take it. I mean, the word they can't handle it well. I mean, the wokes are some of the most thin-skinned people in the world, and
no, but the thing is though, if we're gonna go talk about the quote unquote
mm,
woke movement, why don't we just go and I'm just saying, like, as far as the show and stuff, why don't we just give the history on why people are calling woke? Because woke is actually, how should I say, a very modern term.
yeah,
You didn't hear people like around the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s actually call themselves woke.
I'm a
If
Gen
you
X.
actually
I
look at
never
it,
heard such a thing. I'm a
exactly.
Gen Xer. I never heard of such a thing.
Yeah. So
That's something
that
that only has happened in the last few years.
I'll say it will have to happen like around maybe 10 years, because that's when I actually first heard about it. And
Hmm.
it's like, okay, this is how I characterize people or stuff. And Jose, you know what I'm talking about. If you ever been around 125th Street, right?
Yes.
You have a lot of people who have when you pass around, you have certain people who are selling their books and such, right? So you see them with fantastic books about fake Egyptology. They might have a book about what's his name, Marcus Garvey or somebody of that nature, right? And then they'll be having books about black liberation, and then when you actually read about it, is not really historically accurate. So when you see certain people when they actually say, "Oh yeah, oh that person's woke," I started hearing that term or that terminology like around 2012, 2013, so to say.
Mhm.
And now they're using that term to broaden, to say, like, okay, from what I'm seeing, they're using that term to broaden anything that is quote unquote anti-Republican. And they're like, oh, this person is okay, is going against the grain or something like that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh. But just to add a humorous moment regarding accountability, I have to accept accountability and actually said that I actually saw one rat in Parkchester.
May,
You
may,
saw one.
may
You saw
I
one
say
rat.
may I say something? May I say something, Don Jose, about that?
Yeah,
How long you been living in Parkchester?
6 years.
Okay,
Mhm.
now I was living in Park. I was living near Parkchester and used to frequent Parkchester for like maybe 20 or 30 years of my life, right?
Hmm.
So with that said, it was is that I've seen like a lot of rats within my lifetime in the old Parkchester, not the new Parkchester, the old Parkchester.
Okay.
So where where the rats used to actually congregate. You know that park which you see now, which is like from the Boston market and everything like that across the Chase Bank.
Yes.
All right, so before they actually cleaned it up and everything like that, that's where all the rats used to congregate. And the thing is, though, it never congregated in the day, but it always congregated at night. And then before they actually went up and they revamped the station to where it is now, it was actually Rat Central because the Bangladeshis at the time, before they actually had their whole stores, which is now in Parkchester, they used to actually have two stores. The one which is Teamo, and the other, and then they used to have like a newspaper branch right there where they used to have food and everything. So therefore, when there was actually done and such, with the foods and selling their fruits and everything like that,
Yeah.
that's where the rats used to congregate. If there was like any scraps or such, and then you seen like maybe droves of rats, which is like maybe five, and like on a good winter day, it was like 20.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Let those rats congregate. I know this is gonna sound bad, but let those rats congregate on Chinatown. See what happens.
Oh, come on now. We're not gonna go there because
yo, yo,
we
me,
might think
me and the wife, we're actually laughing at that part.
Hmm.
and I'm gonna make a confession. I admit Orchard Beach can be a little bit dirty at times.
Don't start with Orchard Beach.
A little bit. Don't Jose. I mean, like, come on. I lost my friend. I lost my friend in Orchard Beach, and I never think to go back. So it makes like maybe 22 years I haven't gone back to Orchard Beach.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
happened to your friend?
Well, my friend, it was in June 24th, 2002.
Hmm.
He was actually outside with his girlfriend and a couple of friends. So he saved his girlfriend, but yeah, he got caught up in the current and everything and
Oh, okay.
drowned.
Oh,
So
okay. Sorry to hear that.
yeah,
No, I thought that you were gonna say something about the he got into the water and he was contaminated and he caught a disease out of it.
Oh,
I thought you
come
were gonna say
on,
something like that.
Ramon.
Nah, so
Come on now.
No, but
Let's not.
sorry about your friend, for real. Sorry about your friend. I
yeah,
thought
so after that, that's like one of the places that I would never have a desire to even go to again ever is Orchard Beach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If I'm
Okay,
gonna miss a thing,
another reason for me not to go there.
Oh,
yeah, don't
come
get me
on
wrong.
now. First of all,
Don't
okay,
get me
okay.
wrong, Ramon. They actually got like some good salsa concerts and everything like that.
Mm.
But me personally, I'm not going. So
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you.
yeah,
No, but Don Armando, it's too dramatic, so I can I can understand that. But come on, the water's not that contaminated. Okay, I admit the water might be a tad on the dirty side, maybe because maybe
No.
one.
It's just that I got really offended because there was I think a video on TikTok that I haven't been able to find again, in which they edited footage of somebody getting to Orchard Beach, and when supposedly they show the water, what they did is that they edited with footage of crash boat back in the island. And I recognized it immediately because when I saw the water and I saw the dock, because there is kind of like a long pier that sticks out. When I saw that, I knew that they were faking it. Get out of my face with that. I know that the water that wasn't on no Orchard Beach. That was crash boat
Um,
back on the
yeah,
island.
yeah, but Ramon, you never been to Orchard Beach, so therefore, how would you know that?
I have been to crash boat, and if I have that chance, if I have the choice to to go to either crash boat or Orchard Beach, I'll go to crash boat.
Okay, so let me ask you this let me ask you this question. Would you rather be
No,
tied up and then forced to engage in intercourse with 10 500-pound women who haven't bathed in 4 hours?
okay, well, I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to. Okay, let them try. They can try. But I'm not getting into Orchard Beach water. I'm not getting that. But the hippos that you're talking about trying to have sex with me, they could try. But I just wouldn't rise up to the occasion, if you know what I mean. I wouldn't be able to. I just wouldn't be able to. I mean, that's the trying to have sex with hippos and whales and cows and no.
yo,
That doesn't appeal to me.
yo, I don't know what y'all doing, but you're making my wife laugh.
Okay. Well, I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear that. Shout out to your lady.
Yeah.
So would you say you would rather make love to a bunch of overweight women who weigh 400 pounds each than go to Orchard Beach?
I'll agree to it, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna be able to do it because I won't be able to rise to the occasion. To be able to do it, I will have to be able to rise to the occasion, and I won't be able to.
Are you
So
saying that?
nothing is gonna happen. Nothing is gonna happen.
I'm gonna tell you, Ramon, something. All right.
Uh-huh.
And we all men here. Y'all might agree or disagree, right?
Uh-huh.
Man, just go. If they say like, hey, if you actually have to go around with 400-pound women and everything like that,
Mhm.
just go around and have just drink 2 Bacardi straight with Coke, and you'll be straight. You rise to the occasion, and that's it.
I don't know if that will work
There's nothing to it.
because I know how I get. I know how I get when I get a buzz. I mean, I don't really. It's not like an aphrodisiac. Alcohol is not an aphrodisiac for me. I mean, there are dudes that drink a little bit and their animal, some kind of like animal comes out of it and they want to hump a wall if they could. I'm not like that.
Yo,
They want to do it with a hole in the wall, and no, I'm not like that.
But Ramon, could you imagine trying to make love to someone that weighs 500 pounds who haven't bathed in like 4 months?
Okay, definitely, I would be running out. Definitely, I couldn't do anything with that stank. I mean, she was stinking too, big overweight and stinking too.
And
No,
then, and then, just as she's getting ready to climax, she throws a powerful stinky egg fart.
no, no. Maybe you could do it. Maybe you could do it, but I couldn't.
I mean,
No, sir.
I mean, no offense, babe, because my lady's right here, right?
Uh-huh.
Back in my day, right, when I was single, all I used to do was date like maybe two, like the max female that I've dated that was thick was like maybe, I was saying like maybe 200 or 300. But it
Mhm.
was like 400, but it was like, but if I was single and it was 400 and stuff, 9 times out of 10, you have to go around and take a bath because if a chick that size wants you to go around and wrestle in bed, somebody got to go around and take a bath.
I have been with a couple of bigger women in my life. I have been with a couple of them, but both of them were Puerto Rican and both of them were very clean. So I didn't have to worry about that. There are certain people, not necessarily women, but there are certain people that they are so overweight that they have fat on top of fat, and that sweat stank. That sweat in between the stackings of fat, because they have fat stacked like pancake, and in between that's gonna sweat and that's gonna stink. And there are people that are like that, but at least the couple of women that I have been, at least a couple of women that have been thicker, that have become a little bigger, they were very clean.
I'm
Well,
sorry, but my wife is laughing, so it's making me laugh.
I think about it, Ramon. You're tied up, so therefore you cannot move. So it's like, yeah, like 20 women who wear.
No, but that's the thing. But that's the thing. She's gonna be if she's on top. If she's on top, then she's gonna be crushing me. I won't be able to move. I mean, that's not ideal.
Just think of it as a wrestling match. You know what I'm saying? If you win,
Okay.
it's like this. When I
Yeah,
was
but
single,
I don't know.
when I was single, and I talked to a lot of women who were of the BBW and stuff. There was like some of the BBW women was confused, like why good looking guys talking like you talking to me? Ain't you supposed to go around with skinny chicks? Well, I know I like to wrestle, so give me your number. So
Mhm.
so that and it was like, oh really? I was like, yeah. So give me your number.
All right.
And
Oh, yeah. You were. That's good. That's good. You were instructing me. You were telling them what time it was. I mean, they
I
couldn't
mean,
mess with you.
sometimes, babe, don't kill me for saying this next.
It was in the past, man. It
Yeah,
was
I
in the
know.
past. It's
Yeah,
in
I
the
know.
past.
Yeah, I know. But some, it's like some of the bigger women they used to come up to me. They was like, they used to look at my lips and they were like, "Hey, Poppy, I know what those lips would do." I was like,
Yeah.
"There's only one way to find out, so you better go around and give me your number."
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we're gonna stop to wrap this up. I had to have a little humor into the conversation.
No, that's
Uh,
good.
As long as you didn't bring anything about winter, it's all good, Jose.
That exactly.
actually, actually, I got a new thing that I'm gonna be I'm gonna be
Uh-huh.
mentioning when I when it comes to Ramon. But I'm gonna start to take closing remarks. Can you guys hang out in the backstage briefly?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So of course I'm gonna start with the ex-shave extremist president. Donna
Yes.
Malcolm, your final thoughts.
My final thoughts is, that at the end of the day, We have to take accountability, and if you take accountability, depending on how the mature level of that person, y'all could actually get over a tiff or a little disagreement. Now, if a person doesn't have the mature mind and doesn't take accountability, well, that's on them.
Well, thank you very much for stopping by on Don Armando. And I just want to let people know, if you have not done so, please subscribe to this channel. He has a lot of interesting content. So please don't go away. Thank you very much. I'll put you in the backstage. Now, we're going to lead with the person whose mission is to have intercourse with as many 600-pound women as possible. Who want to be tied up and have 1,600-pound women who haven't bathed in 6 months.
Ew!
And make love to him.
Jose, what the hell?
Who wants to get on the subway where everyone does for egg farts at one time?
Right. A rush hour where everybody farting in there. Uh-huh. Right.
Your final thoughts.
Yeah, everybody farting in there in rush hour, everybody stank. Yeah, you want me to be in there? Nah. Okay. You were finished doing your intro. No, sir, I don't want to be in no subway at rush hour where people stanking and farting near me. I couldn't do it. No, sir. But then again, I appreciate you letting me be on your panel. I know that I came in late, so I was just dropping in my 2 cents. Thank you for having me, and that's all there is to it. That's all I got. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and people, if you have not done so, please subscribe to the Intro Boricua. He does have a lot of interesting content. Stuff that you'll consider, and things of that nature. So thank you very much, Ramon. I'm going to put you in the backstage, so please don't go away.
Sure thing.
Okay. Now, I'm going to give you my final thoughts. So the whole topic of tonight was accountability on holiday. Basically, I was talking about people who, for whatever reason, have issues not being able to take accountability, okay? It is an individual choice, okay? It's never too late. There's always, you can learn to take accountability. You have to have the maturity. So huge shout out to everyone that appeared on the panel. A huge shout out to everyone that appeared on the chat. So just as a reminder, I'm going to be on Wednesday night at 8:30 when I'm going to be addressing the issue of the woke people, who they are, why they woke, and then we're going to have a discussion. And before I forget, please consider subscribing not only to this platform, but also the other channel, which is Latina Diaspora. There's a link in the description where they will lead you to that other channel and check out my content. So with that being said, we will close the following way. We must do everything possible to minimize our contact with the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by the stupidity and mass insanity. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, saying good night, take care, happy Easter or happy Resurrection Day, and peace.